August 29, 1942. Mga railway station southeast of Leningrad, 4 Tiger tanks arrive by train from Pskov. The crews gather to see them for the first time. They're massive, bigger than anything Germany has built before. The Panzer IIIs and IVs that brought them this far suddenly look like toys. The Tiger dwarfs them, 57 tons. The gun barrel alone stretches nearly 17 feet. The 88-millimeter cannon, the same weapon that's been shredding Allied bombers from the sky, now mounted on tracks. The armor, 100 millimeters on the front, 60 millimeters on the sides, 80 millimeter at the rear. For context, the Panzer IV carries 50 millimeters of frontal armor. The Panzer III the same. The Tiger's armor is twice as thick. One crewman runs his hand along the welded hull plates. Another climbs onto the track guards, peers into the horseshoe-shaped turret. A third walks a complete circuit, studying the interleaved road wheels, 3 per suspension unit, overlapping in a complex pattern meant to distribute the enormous weight. These are the first production Tigers. Fresh from the Henschel factory in Kassel, brand new, untested in combat. The crews are impressed, confident. This is a tank you could go to war in with confidence. Hitler's answer to the Soviet T-34. The weapon that will break the deadlock on the Eastern Front. The psychological impact alone. Allied tank crews who encounter Tigers will break and run. The reputation precedes it. The 8mm gun can kill at over 1,000 yards. The armor shrugs off everything the Soviets can throw at it. Invincible. That's the promise. Hours later, the same day. The Tigers advance toward Siniavino Heights. General von Küchler has ordered them into action immediately. Soviet forces are driving on the Neva River. The Tigers will stop them. The crews climb aboard. Engines roar to life. The Maybach V-12s, 650 horsepower each, growl with authority. The column moves out. The roads are not roads. They're forest tracks, narrow paths through swampy woodland, barely wide enough for a single vehicle. The ground is soft, wet. The weight of the Tiger, 57 tons, sinks into the earth with each meter traveled. First hour, the lead Tiger's transmission makes a grinding sound. Second hour, the grinding becomes a shriek. Third hour, the Tiger stops. Transmission seized. Dead. The second Tiger develops the same problem, almost immediately. Something in the drivetrain, the complex system of gears designed to move 57 tons, fails under the strain. By the end of the day, 2 Tigers operational, 2 disabled. The crews stare at their broken machines. The Tigers haven't fired a shot. Engineers arrive, they assess the damage. The transmissions are destroyed. The Tigers are too heavy to tow through the forest. Recovery is impossible. The Tigers sit immobile in the Russian mud, September 21, 1942. The Tigers go into action again. 1 Tiger and 3 Panzer IIIs. The attack bogs down, literally. 1 Tiger pushes forward across wet ground. The interleaved wheels, designed to spread the weight, collect mud between them. The mud clogs the suspension, the wheels jam. The Tiger grinds to a halt. The crew tries to reverse. The tracks spin. The Tiger sinks deeper. Soviet anti-tank guns open fire. The shells bounce off the Tiger's armor, but the tank isn't going anywhere. The crew abandons the vehicle. German engineers place demolition charges. They blow up their own Tiger to prevent its capture. Hitler's wonder weapon. Destroyed by mud before it could prove itself. Back in Germany, General Heinz Guderian, Inspector General of Panzer Troops, receives the reports from Leningrad. He's furious. He blames Hitler personally. The Führer ordered the Tigers committed prematurely in a secondary operation in terrain completely unsuitable for heavy tanks. In swampy forests near Leningrad, 57-ton vehicles could only move in single file along forest tracks, exactly where Soviet anti-tank guns waited. The result? Heavy unnecessary casualties and loss of surprise for future operations. Guderian knew this would happen. Everyone with operational experience knew. But Hitler wanted his new weapon in action immediately. The element of surprise gone. The Soviets now know about the Tiger. They'll study it, develop countermeasures. All for nothing. The attack bogged down in unsuitable terrain. The Tigers accomplished nothing. The mathematics of the Tiger program tell a grim story. Production began in August 1942. Initial rate, 12 tanks per month. 12. By November, production increased to 25 per month. Maximum production reached in April 1944, 104 Tigers. For context, in 1943, Soviet factories produced approximately 24,000 T-34s. American factories produced roughly 29,000 Shermans. Germany managed about 350 Tigers total across the entire war. Each Tiger took twice as long to build as previous Panzers. The complex overlapping suspension, the massive armor plates, the precision-engineered gun, the intricate drivetrain. Hitler miscalculated badly. In May 1940, German industry produced 125 Panzers per month. It took Hitler 2 full years to order an increase to 600 per month. By then, the Soviets were outproducing Germany 10-1. The Tiger made the problem worse. Resources that could have built 5 Panzer IVs instead built 1 Tiger. And the Tiger came with problems the Panzer IV didn't have. Recovery. A disabled Panzer IV could be towed by another tank or a half-track. Standard procedure. A disabled Tiger? 3 heavy-duty half-tracks needed to budget. If you didn't have 3 half-tracks, you used another Tiger. But using a Tiger to tow inevitably caused the rescue vehicle's engine to overheat. The 650 horsepower engine, already straining to move 57 tons, couldn't handle the additional load. If a Tiger threw a track and the track jammed in the sprockets, it took 2 Tigers to drag the disabled vehicle. Getting the broken track off required hours of work with specialized tools. None of these time-consuming activities were possible while under fire. The crews knew what to do when their Tiger broke down in combat: abandon it. Place charges. Blow it up. The irony: invincible in combat, helpless when broken. Tigers were regularly captured or abandoned simply because they were too heavy to rescue from the battlefield. December 1st, 1942, Bizerte, Tunisia. More Tigers arrive in North Africa, shipped across the Mediterranean to reinforce Rommel's Africa Corps. The first tank off the boat seizes up on the dock. The second breaks down on the road heading west. 4 more Tigers under Captain Baron von Nolde make for the front. Von Nolde is eccentric. He wears gym shoes into battle, but he's aggressive. December 2nd, morning. The Tigers attack positions held by the Royal Hampshire Regiment near Jeddah. The British are overrun. The Tigers crash through defensive positions, 88mm guns demolishing everything in their path. Von Nolde climbs out of his tank to give orders to another officer. An anti-tank shell takes both his legs off. A sniper kills the second officer. But the German attack rolls on. The Tigers are unstoppable. Allied losses: 55 tanks, 53 field guns, 300 other vehicles. The American 1st Armored Division's 2nd Battalion loses 42 M3 Grant medium tanks around Taburba in the following days. The Tiger crews learn something important. They're impervious to the Grant's 75mm gun. The shells simply bounce off, even at close range. Surprisingly, the 37mm gun on the M3 Stuart light tank proves more of a nuisance. Accurate fire at the Tiger's vision ports, commander's cupola, and the gap beneath the turret causes problems. In one case, a shell fragment jams a Tiger's turret. But the terrain. Tunisia isn't just desert, there's mud, rain, mountains. The nights are bitterly cold. Snow caps the peaks. The Tigers bog down in the mud just like they did in Russia. The limited numbers spread too thin. A handful of Tigers cannot hold Tunisia. December turns to January, January to February. The Tigers fight well when they work. But mechanical breakdowns plague them, fuel shortages worsen, Allied air superiority grows. May 12, 1943. The German and Italian armies in Tunisia surrender, all Tigers lost. The Tigers that made it to Sicily, 17 of them serving with 2nd Company, Heavy Panzer Battalion 504, are lost when the Allies invade in July. Guderian argues there's no point leaving them on Sicily. They should be withdrawn to the mainland. But Hermann Göring, commander of the Luftwaffe, dismisses him. Tigers can't pole vault across the Straits of Messina, Göring says. Guderian replies, if you've really won air supremacy over the Straits of Messina, the Tigers can come back from Sicily the same way they went out. The air expert falls silent. The Tigers remain in Sicily. All 17 lost. July 1943. Operation Citadel. The Kursk offensive. Hitler's last major attack on the Eastern Front. The German High Command pins its hopes on new tanks. Tigers, Panthers, Ferdinand tank destroyers, Hitler's zoo of vehicles named after predators. Army Group South deploys 102 Tigers across 3 Panzer Corps. Heavy Panzer Battalion 503 musters 42 operational Tigers for the offensive. These are divided among 3 Panzer divisions. Other units contribute more. Grossdeutschland Panzer Division brings 12 Tigers. The 1st, 2nd, and 3rd SS Panzer Divisions bring 12 each. The open Russian steppe. This is the terrain the Tiger was designed for. Flat ground, long sight lines. The 88mm gun dominates at range. The Tiger can penetrate 100mm of armor at over 1,000 yards. The Soviet T-34 model 1943 has a maximum of 70mm of frontal armor. At 1,000 yards, the T-34 is already vulnerable to the Panzer IV's 75mm gun. It cannot hope to counter the Tiger. The Tigers advance. They knock out Soviet armor with devastating efficiency. Kill ratios are impressive. Some Tigers claim dozens of T-34s destroyed. But the numbers tell a different story. Soviet tanks at Kursk, thousands. The Red Army has massed the greatest concentration of armor in history. German Tigers in the sector, barely 100. For every Tiger, there are dozens of T-34s. The mathematics are brutal, and the Tigers break down. Constantly. The Maybach engines overheat in the summer heat. Transmissions fail. Final drives crack. Fuel consumption is enormous. Range is limited. Recovery remains nearly impossible under fire. By the offensive's end, Tiger numbers are decimated, not primarily from enemy fire, from breakdown and abandonment. The Tigers that survive the battle are pulled back, refitted, sent to new sectors, but the aura of invincibility has cracks in it now. June 13, 1944. Morning. Villers-Bocage, Normandy. Lieutenant Michael Whitman commands 2nd Company, Heavy SS Panzer Battalion 101. He's already a tank ace. By January 1944, his kill count stood at 117 vehicles. He's been promoted to full lieutenant, given command of a Tiger company. The battalion has a theoretical strength of 45 Tigers. Actually, it numbers only 37. Fewer than half are available at Villers-Bocage. Whitman's 4 Tigers sit in a small wood northeast of the village. The British 7th Armored Division, the famous Desert Rats BUM, is advancing. Their lead elements, the 4th County of London Yeomanry, push toward Point 213. Whitman spots the British column moving east. He makes a decision, attack, alone, without waiting for the other Tigers. 0905 hours. Whitman's Tiger rams aside a Cromwell tank blocking the road. He drives into Rue Clemenceau, the town's high street. In the town square, dismounted British tank crews are caught completely by surprise. Whitman's gunner, Sergeant Balthazar Voll, opens fire. First kill, Lieutenant Colonel Cranley's command tank. Major Carr fires from point-blank range at Whitman's Tiger. The shell bounces off. Whitman's next shot destroys Carr's Cromwell in flames. The regimental, Sergeant Major's tank explodes. Captain Pat Dias reverses desperately into a garden. He and his gunner are outside their tank. They watch helplessly as the Tiger drives by, presenting its weaker side armor. They don't fire. They can't. They're not in their tank. Whitman continues down toward the river valley of the Soule. At the road junction, he encounters Major Aird's B Squadron parked on the Caumont Road. Sergeant Stan Lockwood, commanding a Sherman Firefly, hears the firing. A scout car driver appears, frantically waving. Lockwood drives around a corner. Whitman's Tiger is 200 yards away, side-on, firing down a side street. The Firefly thumps 4 17-pounder rounds into the Tiger. It catches fire, but the Tiger's turret rotates. One shot brings down half a building on Lockwood's tank. When Lockwood's crew emerges from the rubble, the Tiger has vanished. Whitman retreats back up the hill. He encounters another Cromwell. His Tiger takes 2 more hits before destroying the Cromwell, killing 2 crew members. Whitman then attacks the main British column. 25 vehicles stopped on the hedge-lined highway. In 5 minutes, he reduces it to a burning shambles. 1 half-track at the base of the column, 1 Honey light tank, a 6-pounder anti-tank gun crew. Their Bren carrier loaded with ammunition explodes. A row of Bren carriers and half-tracks. Over 25 vehicles destroyed single-handedly. The legend of Tiger invincibility reaches its peak, but context matters. Heavy SS Panzer Battalion 101 has 37 Tigers total. Fewer than half available at Villers-Bocage. By July 1st, only 11 are serviceable. Not because of combat losses, because of mechanical failures, because of fuel shortages, because the Tigers break down faster than mechanics can repair them. August 8, 1944. Operation Totalize, the Allied attempt to break through to Falaise. Whitman leads 5 Tigers supporting Kampfgruppe Waldmüller. The 1st Polish Armored and 4th Canadian Armored Divisions are attacking. Whitman's Tigers strike toward woods southeast of Carcelles, where Allied tanks are assembled. A massive Allied air raid fails to hit a single Panzer. But then reports vary. Some say Whitman's Tiger was hit by British 15mm guns. Others say British Shermans. Still others claim a Typhoon rocket attack. What's certain, Whitman is killed. At the time of his death, he's credited with 138 tank kills, plus 132 anti-tank gun kills, all accomplished in less than 2 years. But the battalion is bleeding away, not from combat, from attrition, mechanical, logistical. The Normandy campaign becomes a slaughter, not primarily of Tigers being knocked out, of Tigers being abandoned. Heavy Panzer Battalion 101 reaches Normandy with 37 Tigers. The journey from Germany is a nightmare. Allied air attacks, tanks breaking down en route, fuel shortages. The bocage, the Norman hedgerow country, proves disastrous for Tigers. Narrow lanes between high hedgerows. The Tigers are too wide, too heavy. The soft ground can't support them. Wet weather makes everything worse. The Tigers sink into the mud, get stuck, become immobilized. This isn't the Russian steppe. This isn't the North African desert. This is close terrain that negates the Tigers' advantages. August 7th, near Vassy. 10 Tigers from Battalion 101 engage a British armored column. Opening fire at just 400 meters, they knock out 14 of 15 attacking Shermans. Numerous other vehicles destroyed. It's carnage. But then, withdrawal. The order comes. Fall back to the Seine. August 1944. Rouen docks. At least 3 functioning Tigers sit abandoned on the docks. They're too heavy to ferry across the Seine in time. There's no fuel to move them. No transporters to carry them. The Allied advance is too fast. German engineers slip back across the river at night. They blow up their own Tigers. A photograph shows a Canadian soldier standing beside one of the massive abandoned tanks. The width of the off-road tracks is stunning. The bulk of the machine is impressive, all abandoned. Another photograph. A Tiger incorporated into someone's woodpile. The track is broken, camouflage markings still visible. The German cross on the side, disabled, abandoned. Another, a Tiger burned out, turret blown off. Another, tracks missing, wheels damaged, left at the roadside. The fate of all Tigers in Normandy, knocked out or abandoned. The mathematics of Normandy tell the story. Tigers knocked out in direct combat. Some. Tigers abandoned due to mechanical breakdowns. Many more. Tigers destroyed by their own crews for lack of fuel. Most. December 16, 1944. The Ardennes, Hitler's last major offensive in the West. The 6th SS Panzer Army spearheads the attack. 2 heavy tank battalions equipped with about 60 Tiger IIs, the King Tiger. The Tiger II is even more impressive than the Tiger Is. Weight, 70 tons. Gun, 88 meters L71, longer and more powerful than the Tiger II's gun. Armor, 150 meters on the front, practically impervious to all Allied armor-piercing rounds. In a head-to-head engagement, the Tiger II outranges every Allied tank. It can kill at over 2,500 meters, but it has the same engine as the Tiger I and the Panther, the Maybach HL 230 P30, 700 horsepower trying to move 70 tons. Underpowered, overweight. December 6th. The German attack launches. The Tiger IIs advance. There's no frost. The Ardennes is mud. The Tiger IIs push forward into soft ground. 15 Tiger IIs sink up to their turrets. Before firing a shot, before seeing the enemy, before accomplishing anything, they simply sink. 70 tons is too heavy. The wide tracks don't help. The terrain is too soft. 15 Tiger IIs, 1/4 of the entire force, immobilized by mud before the battle truly begins. Kampfgruppe Piper, spearheading the advance, has half a dozen Tiger IIs. By December 21st, Piper is thwarted at Trois Ponts. He takes up a defensive position around La Glaise. The Tiger IIs deploy on the southeastern and northeastern approaches. Good fields of fire. American artillery opens up. Heavy bombardment. The 3rd Armored Division counterattacks. By the end of the day, half the Tigers are out of action. Another half-dozen operational Tiger IIs sit east of Piper at Stavelot. They can't reach him. The bridge over the Amblève is down. Tiger 222 is hit by the Americans and abandoned on the southern end of Stavelot Bridge on the 19th. 2 more are hit in the rear while trying to navigate Stavelot's narrow streets. December 24th. Piper's battle group ceases to exist. Tiger 008, the last operational panzer still on the northern bank of the Amblève between Stavelot and Trois Ponts, has been immobilized by mechanical trouble. Christmas Day. The crew sets it on fire. Piper abandons 7 Tiger IIs in or near La Glaise. Tiger 204. The Americans try to drive it to the railway station at Spa. It breaks down at Rouy. Tiger 213, found in a field near Werimont Farm at La Glaise. After restoration, placed in front of La Glaise Museum. Tiger 332, heading for Piper's abandoned positions on Christmas, it's hit by a Sherman firing phosphorus shells. The crew thinks their tank is on fire. They bail out. The Tiger wasn't actually burning. Tiger 332 is eventually shipped to America. 3 more Tigers abandoned at Stavelot. The Tiger II's role as a breakthrough tank. Complete failure. Under less than favorable conditions, useless. More powerful than the Tiger I. More heavily armored, even less reliable, even more logistically demanding. March 6, 1945, Hungary. Hitler's last offensive on the Eastern Front. The 6th SS Panzer Army again. More Tiger IIs. A 30-minute artillery bombardment. Air support. The Germans crash into Soviet defenses. There's no frost. Mud everywhere. 15 Tiger IIs sink up to their turrets. Again. The same mistake. The same result. The Tiger IIs that don't sink deal with Soviet opponents effectively. When they work, they're devastating. But there are too few. They're too unreliable. Mechanical failures are constant. Heavy Panzer Battalion 503 receives 36 Tiger IIs in February 1945. By mid-March, it has 10 left, not from combat losses, from breakdowns. The remaining 10 are moved to defend the Oder River, April 1945. 6 Tiger IIs of the 503rd participate in Berlin's final battle. From January to April, the battalion claims 500 enemy tanks destroyed for the loss of 45 Tiger IIs. Most of those 45 losses abandoned after breaking down. April 18th. The 503rd knocks out 64 Russian tanks, loses 1 Tiger, withdraws toward Berlin, May 1st. 5 Tigers still operational. They attempt to break out during the night. They don't get far. After destroying 39 Russian tanks on the streets of Berlin, the last Tiger II is blown up by its own crew. Heavy Panzer Battalion 502, renumbered 511 in January 1945, collects the last 13 Tiger IIs directly from the Henschel factory in Kassel on March 31st. They also receive 3 second-hand Tiger IIs from the proving grounds at Sennelager. 1 more from Northeim. The battalion moves to the Oder between Frankfurt and Küstrin in early March with 29 tanks total. They're thrown into attack near Sachsenheim. March 26-27, an attempt to break through to Küstrin. The unit ends its days with the 9th Army in the Halbe pocket, May 2nd, 1945. Panzer driver Lance Corporal Lothar Tebe witnesses the end, heavy fighting against vastly superior forces all day, the last Tigers destroyed. The accounting: total Tiger worm production, approximately 1,350 tanks. Total Tiger II production, approximately 500 tanks. Total, 1,850 Tigers. Compare Soviet T-34 production, 84,000 tanks. Compare American Sherman production, 49,000 tanks. The Germans built fewer than 2,000 Tigers total. Losses breakdown, combat losses, significant, mechanical failures, massive. Abandoned for lack of fuel, enormous. Abandoned because too heavy to recover, routine. Destroyed by own crews, standard procedure. The engineering assessment. The Tiger was a masterpiece of German engineering. Impressive armor, yes. Powerful gun, yes. Psychological impact, undeniable. Allied tank crews feared it, rightly so. In a straight fight, the Tiger usually won. But it was a tactical liability, too heavy. Most bridges couldn't support it. It often fell through floors of buildings. When it bogged down, recovery was nearly impossible. It was a strategic disaster, too complex. Each Tiger took twice as long to build as simpler tanks. Resources that could have produced 5 Panzer IVs instead produced 1 Tiger. It was a logistical nightmare, too fuel-hungry. The Maybach engine, already struggling to move the weight, consumed gasoline at an appalling rate. As Germany's fuel situation deteriorated, Tigers were routinely abandoned with empty tanks. Too unreliable. The complex drivetrain, the overlapping wheels, the precision-engineered components all required constant maintenance. Maintenance that was impossible to provide on a fluid battlefield. The German armed forces lacked heavy tank transporters. Tigers had to drive to the front under their own power. They often broke down before arriving. When a Tiger broke down in combat, the crew had one option: abandon it, place demolition charges, blow it up, walk away. The final irony. The Tiger roared, louder than any tank before it. It struck fear into Allied crews. British tankers developed Tiger phobia, seeing Tigers where none existed. It dominated engagements when it worked, but it rarely worked for long. Mud silenced it at Leningrad in 1942. Mud stopped it in Tunisia in 1943. Mud swallowed it in Normandy in 1944. Mud drowned it in the Ardennes in December 1944. Mud claimed it in Hungary in March 1945. Fire consumed it. Allied air attacks turned Tigers into burning wrecks. Artillery bombardments destroyed them. Most often, German crews set their own Tigers on fire, destroyed them to prevent capture. Burning hulks littered Europe. testimonies to wasted resources, wasted effort. Fuel shortages starved it. By 1944, Germany's oil situation was desperate. The strategic bombing campaign had crippled synthetic fuel production. Romanian oil fields were lost. The Tiger's fuel consumption was massive. Range was limited. Tanks were abandoned with empty tanks. Operational Tigers, fully functional, left at roadsides because there was no fuel to move them. Crews walked away from multi-million Reichsmark machines. The mathematics that mattered. The specification said, Invincible. The reality said, immobile. Hitler promised war winner. Guderian knew, too little, too late. Engineering said, masterpiece. Logistics said, nightmare. The gun said, devastating. The weight said, liability. The armor said, impenetrable. The transmission said, broken. The equation that actually mattered, 1,850 Tigers total, versus mud, versus fire, versus fuel shortages. Mud won, fire won, fuel won. The Tigers roar, silenced forever. Not by enemy action primarily, but by the inexorable mathematics of modern war. By logistics, by production capacity, by fuel availability. By the simple physics of moving 57 to 70 tons across soft ground. The Tiger was a triumph of engineering that became a symbol of German military failure, impressive in isolation, inadequate in reality. A weapon that looked invincible on paper but couldn't survive contact with mud, with supply chains, with the brutal arithmetic of industrial warfare. Hitler's Tiger roared, briefly, then fell silent, forever.